Apologies to Nadja. I don't know what's happening. I don't know why I can't see her in the um in the waiting room. But I don't. Um, okay, so we did need to talk about this thing about joining tables. Now, I actually made a video about this in the other class, so I hope you don't mind if I just sort of go through this a bit quickly. Um, Joining two tables together requires that you use the keys. The key, each table has a primary key. The primary key is used to uniquely identify. Uniquely means there's only one of that kind, to uniquely identify every row in the table. So that's what we call a primary key. The foreign key is going to be a key which is found in this table, which is a primary key in another table. And how we join tables is by setting the foreign key of one table equal to the primary key in another table. And we do that in the where clause. There is another way of joining tables, and that's using a join, but we don't, there's actually a join command, but we're not going to talk about that. We don't need to. So we have talked about the select statements having three clauses. The select clause tells us what rows, what columns we're going to get in our output. The from tells us what tables we get that from. And the where clause limits or filters the number of rows by some condition. And so the way that we join two tables, here in the rep table, the rep number is a primary key. It uniquely identifies every row in the rep table. In the customer table, the rep number is used as a foreign key, and it is used so that we can join the table of the customer to the table of the rep. We need to be able to do that if we're going to know the name of the representative for each customer. Each customer only has one representative, but each representative might have many customers. And so that representative's number is all we need to store in the customer table, because if we know the representative number in the customer table, we can use that to find the details of the representative in the representative table. So we do that by joining the table. How we join the table is in this where clause. You can see here, we set the representative number in the representative table equal to the representative number in the customer table. By doing that, we can then get the details of the representative from the representative table and mix them together with the details of the customer from the customer table. And that's what's happening in this select statement. We're selecting the customer number and the customer name, which come from the customer table. Now I've got Nadja showing up in the waiting room, and I've tried to let her in. So we got the customer number and the customer name from the customer table. The last name and the first name come from the representative table, and the representative number. Now you notice this thing here that's before the dots. We have before the dot because we have what we call our ambiguous um, um, an ambiguous field, or that is that the representative number is found in more than one table. Representative number is found in the customer table, and it's found in the representative table. So to distinguish or to tell the difference between the two, we need to say what table they come from. So when we're doing this select here, this representative number is going to come from the representative table, whereas over here, we're setting the representative number in the customer table equal to the representative number in the representative table to join the two tables together. And so in the customer table, representative number 20 is shown. These details about the last name and first name don't come from the customer table. They actually come from the representative table, but we're able to get them because if you looked at the representative table and looked at representative number 20, we'd know that that was Kaiser or Valerie Kaiser. I hope that makes sense to you. That's okay, Nadja. It's not your fault. It's just a glitch of the technology, and we're all sorry about that. Don't
Sir,
worry about that. Yes, Ada.
so if they were to ask a question like this, how would they say like show how many customer, what was the rep number of like the this customer number, and then we would like link them together and then find it.
Okay, the thing
Like
that you're missing from that is would ask you, the rep number is actually found in the customer table. What they're going to ask you is, what is the name of the representative that for this customer? And then you'd have to link the two tables on the rep number and then get the name of the representative from the representative table.
so in the
Yeah.
test we would have to create the table, like run in the SQL, and then but or can we write it in the table
In the test,
on
you're more
Word?
likely to, you might be asked to write a select statement like this. but you probably wouldn't be asked in the same question to create a table and write the select statement. Those would be two different questions. In the test, you could expect that you might have even multiple choice questions, which refer to like select statements, or you might be asked to write a select statement. Yeah, I hope that makes sense.
You,
The order, when we create an order, we've got this order line table, and the order line table refers to, it must have a part in it. So if we wanted to know all the details of a part on a particular order, those details are not there in the order line. All we've got is the part number. But using that part number, we can join to the part table, and then we could find out the details of that item in this order. So what this means is if I look at the order line table, it means that we ordered 11 irons, and each of those irons cost $21.95. How do I know it's 11 irons? Because the part number is AT94, and if I refer back to the part table, the part table AT94 is an iron, and there's some other details there. The quoted price I notice in the order line is less than the warehouse price, but that's interesting. So if we look at this command, which is a select statement, what we're doing is this. We get the order number. That will come from the order line table. The part number here, part number shows up in two tables. It shows up in the order line table and in the part line table. So we have to say which table we're getting the part number from. So we're getting that part number from the order line table. The description is probably coming from the part table. I could tell by going back and having a look, right? So description, yes, that's coming from the part table. So there is no description in the order line table, so it's okay. There's no ambiguity there. This field is only found in one table, so we don't need to say which table we got it from. The number ordered, that'll be in the that'll be from the order line table. The quoted price, which is also from the order line table, right? And then the price, which is from the part table. So we're getting all of those things and we're going to present them. So what's happening here is then we're getting data from two tables, from the order line table and the part table. And to make that work, we're setting the part number from the order line table equal to the part number from the part table. And that's the join. And that allows us to say, well, this data came from the order line table. The part number came from both tables. Well, in fact, here, the one that's being presented came from the order line table. The description came from the part table. The number ordered came from the order line table. The quoted price came from the order line table, but the price itself came from the part table. I hope that makes sense. So we're actually getting data from two different tables and presenting it, and it actually works because we don't show the data unless the part number in the order line table was the same as the part number in the part table, so that this is referring to the same part. I hope
So
that's making
order
sense.
line is a function, yeah.
Order line is a table. Order
Uh,
line is this table here.
name, table name.
Yeah, okay, so there's the table there. I hope that makes sense. And there is another video on this in the that well, there's two other videos on it because you can see my lecture with the other class, which is the same thing, but I would have used different words because I don't have a script here. I just sort of talk to it, and so it would be slightly different. Um, and there's also the video that I made on the weekend because people had the question which required a join, which was another one. I can't remember exactly which one it was, but it was two tables that required
was
a join.
the it was in the first lab.
Yeah. All right,
Part of
so
it.
you now have to do this, which is lab 2. When I looked at lab 2, it doesn't actually have any joins, so that's lucky. So I don't know why we're talking about joins today, but that will come up in lab 3. So what you have to do is these things. I hope it's kind of clear. List the part number, description, and price for all the parts. I've actually done that there. That's like that. List all the rows and columns for a complete
Sir,
order table. That's the easiest thing ever is select star from orders. Yes, question.
For sir, for this exercise, do we have to like write it like that? Select
Uh,
part number
yeah,
and
what you should do is this. You should write it like this, and then you should take the actual command, which I'm going to do here.
Mister,
And actually, I can put in the comment, because the comment will not cause any problems for SQL.
Mister, will the test be on campus?
No. Do you want it to be on campus? No. It won't matter what you want, to be honest. My apologies. I don't mean to sound sort of dismissive. Uh, all I can say is a decision was made earlier this year that this course would be online, and that all the assessment would be online. Okay. So no, you do not. You are welcome to come to the college as long as you follow the rules of the college for COVID. Which is basically, social distance. Wear a mask.
1.5 million
Yeah,
distance.
all that stuff. As long as you do that, you are welcome to come to the college, and you could potentially do the test online. But I'm not going to be sitting in a room with you invigilating you. So I don't know. Maybe that should make you happier. I don't know. What do you think? Um, but yeah, you don't need to. So you should do this. You should get the query like that, and then you should run it. What's happened there? What's happened is, haha, I told you this right before, right? In SQLite, it drops the table if you don't use it for 15 minutes, and so I haven't used this for 15 minutes, and so it's kind of dropped it. So let me go back and put it all back in there, copy it. That's why we have a script, right? Because I need to click to connect.
Sir,
Yes.
so in order to make the script, we need to like ev- write
Write the
everything
code.
according to
Yeah,
what it's supposed to say.
write the code like I have here, and save it in a .sql file and keep that with you. And then when you want to use it, you can copy it and paste it like I've done here, and then run it, and then there's your code, right? And then you can take, and so what you should show is, you should say, okay, here's my answer to question 1, and this is what the answer looks like. And so you should then take a snip of that, say, okay, so take that and put that into a Word file and say, this is my answer to question 1. Think you can do that? I think you can, right?
Yes.
So that's, and you could even put it in here, like you can say, all right, so here's my answer to question 1. Uh, That would be kind of cool, right?
So we are not gonna use SQL CNAQ.
You want to use SIT
No.
dot CNAQ. Yeah, well, that's nice. If you use the SIT one that was given to you, and that's that trivial SQL, you can use that. There's some benefits to using that. I think that what happens is it doesn't drop your database after 15
We
minutes
have to. We cannot
like
copy and
SQL line online does. So maybe that's nice.
it's like
You
we
can
have to
use that
type
as well. You can
we have to
you
type
it's up to you. I don't care what SQL server you use. The SQLite one, I like it. I like it. That doesn't mean it's the best one to use, and I don't care. What I mean by that is I'm not going to force you to use a particular SQL server. If you want to use the SIT one that I gave you the link to, that's fine. You could, if you really want to go all out, you could download onto your computer a WAMP or a MAMP server. And those of you who are really keen will sort of Google on that and see how you do it. It's free. You could download that, and you could run your own SQL server on your computer. And
Sir?
no problem there. It's up to you. Yes, that would be
Sir, can you
a real SQL server. That's MySQL, and the commands will all work perfectly. And how wonderful is that? Yes, your question.
sir, can you please go back to the PowerPoint for 1 minute?
Yes. So
Yeah,
which
just keep it there on that page. Sir, so I just want to talk about the code. So the first line is just asking us about from the information we've written on order
the
number, order line, and order and everything. Select from that, and then say from the order line part, so from there we have to show where part number on order line and part number in the part is equal to each other. Display those only.
Yeah.
Is that what it means? Or
Yes. There's three parts to every SQL select statement. The first part, uh, the first part nominates which fields are going to be displayed. And so we see these as the heading in the result. So the heading in the result is given by the select part. So select order number, part number, description, num ordered, quoted price, price. And then all of the fields will come the same, right? And then the from statement, very, very important. You can't have a select statement without a from. From is going to say which tables this data came from. What is the source of these tables? That's why we use the word from. I hope that makes sense, that this is where this stuff came from. Then the where is going to be what conditions. If we ran this, you could run this query without the where, but it would not make any sense. And it would be huge, because what it would be every row in the order line table would be combined with every row in the part table. And so you get a join multiplication, right? So if there was 100 rows in the order line table and 100 rows in the part table, you'd end up with 100 times 100, which would be 10,000 rows. And actually, this is the thing where basically they always are afraid to let sort of new people get onto SQL because they crash servers, because they run queries without doing a proper where statement. They crash the server because you can easily have an SQL a join which sort of exhausts the memory of your computer because of too many rows. So the where statement is to reduce the number of rows that are actually going to be produced. And how we're doing that is we're forcing only the rows where the part number in the order line is the same as the part number in the um, part table. And so
sir,
that's
the dot connects the part number of from part number of the part table, right?
the thing before the dot is the name of the table from which
Yeah.
this is comes. The thing after the dot is the field in that table. So yes, and so that's yeah, and you see that is in three places here. It happens up here in the select part. So this is saying that, and it has to be there. This wouldn't work without this saying, because there's two part numbers. There's a part number in the part table and there's a part number in the order line table. So in the select statement, we have to say which one we're going to use. So we say, okay, well, we're going to get the part number from the order line table. And then in the where statement, we're saying, okay, well, there's a part number in the order line table and there's a part number in the part table. We're going to make them have to be the same. We're not going to allow any rows to be shown where the part number in one table is different than the part number in the other table. They must be the same. And that's what limits it. Otherwise, we would have this huge output where every part was combined with every order. And,
Sir,
so
can we combine three tables?
yes. So if you wanted to combine three tables, you'd take away this semicolon and you'd put an and you'd put your other condition. And I probably will show you that. I think that comes
So
up
the
in lab 3.
from order line and part aren't those talking about the tables?
Yes. So in the from, that's a good point that you just made there too. If you're going to combine three tables, you'd have to nominate all three tables here. So you'd say from, order line, comma, part, comma, whatever the third table was. Then you'd have this where statement. Then you'd have another and. You only have one where statement in a command. So if you're going to have two conditions, the next one is going to be an and you'd say, and this table must also be equal to that table. This key field in this table must be equal to this key field in that table. So that's how, yes, you definitely can have more than two tables in a result. And I think we're going to have an example of that. Let me have a look. Um, can I, let's have a look. I think, yeah, blah, 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 where, in this one here in lab 3, we're setting 3 tables together. So we're saying that the order table must have the same order number as the order line table, and we're saying that the part table must have the same number. For part number in the order line table must be the same as part number in the and so yeah, you actually have an exercise in lab 3 where you have to put 3 tables together. How about that? Is that exciting or what? But that's
Very
not this one.
exciting.
This one is lab 2, and lab 2 you kind of this is the gentle introduction because I don't see any joins. I mean, the so we all this list stuff is just going to be select from, right? There's some conditions there. I mean, we talked about those in last lesson, where this is bigger than that, or where this, there's nothing really very fancy there. We use the between and the in question 7. Yeah, I mean, actually, yeah, for most of this exercise that you're doing, lab 2, you will have to look at the previous lesson, the previous PowerPoint on how do we go about doing that. So what is that previous PowerPoint? So that would be chapter 3 PowerPoint. And there was a lot of sort of tricky stuff in there, like in between. Yeah, and I did make a video on that, and so you have this also. Okay, so yeah, to finish lab 2, look at chapter 3, I would say. Okay. Any other questions there? I might pause.